Okay, so here is an unethical way to sell AI voice agents. AI voice agents over the past year have been really gaining traction, and I've seen some ways that people have come up with that are creative ways to sell voice agents. But this way here is the unethical way that I don't promote you do unless at least you look up the regulations in your country. But it seems to be performing very well for the people that do this. Now, these voice agents are the type of voice agents that you would sell to local businesses, real estate agents, any kind of small to mid-sized business. So it goes as follows. Over on Apify, we are going to scrape a bunch of leads, and on this Apify scraper, it outputs a bunch of phone numbers. When we get these phone numbers, we're going to do this thing on Twilio, which is called a ring and drop. And what this does is basically we set a timeout for the call to be 1 second. So what it looks like on the client side is after we ring that number that we've scraped from them leads, on their phone, they'll just receive a missed call. So it looks like somebody has rang them and they've missed the call, which is quite typical for a business owner. Now, this is the unethical part because the ring and drop method has been banned in some countries due to regulations. When we ring and drop them on their phone, they will receive a bunch of missed calls like this, which is most likely going to pique their curiosity. And if it does, then they are going to call us back on the number that we called them from. Now, when they call us back, it leaves us in a perfect position to pitch our AI voice agents, because that's the whole premise of an AI voice agent, is to be able to handle these calls for you. And you've just missed the call from us, which means you could possibly need AI voice agent. So what we do after they call us back is we choose one of these routes. Either we can answer the calls manually, so just route the call to our personal phone number and answer the calls and sell them there, or we can route it to an AI voice agent, which is going to sell them on AI voice agent and specifically mention the fact that they are calling us back from a missed call, meaning that they have a use for AI voice agent. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can do this. I don't promote that you use this in real life if it's banned in your country. But without further ado, let's get straight into this. So as we see up here, the first thing we need to do is go to this Apify scraper and get a bunch of leads, which will output their phone numbers as well. In order to do that, we're going to come over here to the Apify store. This is basically a place where we can scrape a bunch of leads. And in most cases, we can do quite a few for free. So over here in the Apify store, obviously after you sign in, come up here to the Apify store and we're going to go over to the lead generation section. So this is all of the lead generation scrapers. And in this lead generation section, we're going to come down here and find this one by Code Pioneer, which is the leads finder. I'm going to click in here. In here is where we are going to decide what type of leads we're looking for. So as you can see down here, we can select a bunch of options. So for me, let's say I'm looking for maybe car dealers in London. I would come down here and I would select, I'm looking for the job title where the person is either the manager, director, owner, sales manager, partner, etc. So all of the kind of decision makers within that company. Location, let's choose United Kingdom, England, Wales, all of the UK. Then down here for the email status, we're not too worried about that as we're looking for phone numbers. Company website, not worried about that. Size, we're not worried about that. Industry, we are going to look for people in the automotive industry. The keywords, we're going to look for car dealerships, even mechanics. We can type in garages. This is the keywords of what type of people in the automotive industry are we looking for. So we're going to type in them keywords, and that's basically everything we need. We can click save. I'm going to set it up here to number of leads to fetch is 100, and then I'm going to start this scraper. And now it's going to output a bunch of leads of which we can use. Okay, so now that it outputs these leads, as we can see over here, we have the person's name, email. What we're looking for is their phone number. So we have the company name, their website, LinkedIn, all of this stuff about the person. And if we scroll over here, we should see the company phone number. So you can see here, we have the company phone number. And these are the numbers that we are going to use for the ring and drop call. So what we're going to do is come up here and export all of these leads. We're going to download them as a CSV. And then we can put them into Google Sheets. When we bring them over and drop them here in Google Sheets, we are now interested in mainly this field over here. If we scroll over to the company phone number, this is the main field that we are interested in. So what we're going to do to be able to set up this so it calls these people is firstly we need to come over here to Twilio and buy a phone number so we can call them from that phone number. So the first thing we're going to do then is come over here to Twilio.com, in which we're going to buy this phone number. So obviously when you sign in, you'll get some free credits. What we want to do with them free credits is come down here to the voice section, or come over here to the phone number section, click manage, and we can buy a phone number. You're going to buy a phone number in whichever country you want to use this in. So if you're in the US, then you would use a US phone number. If you're in the UK, you would do the same there. You'll come down here and you'll just click buy on any of these phone numbers. Obviously in the US there's a lot less regulation, so you can buy numbers a lot easier. In the UK there's some regulation, you might have to upload some documentation. It's pretty straightforward though, should only take a few minutes. And when you buy that phone number, then you can come over here to your active phone numbers, and you should have a list here of all of your phone numbers that you've bought. We're going to use that number that you buy in order to call the people to do the ring and drop method. After we buy a phone number, we're going to come back over here to N8N so we can call all of them numbers at once. So what I'm going to do is come in here and I'm going to select this manual node so we can trigger it manually. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look up the Google Sheets. In here in Google Sheets, I'm going to press get rows in a sheet. When we press the get rows, we're going to come down here and find the sheet that we just made, which is car dealers, and that's going to be on sheet number 1, and this is going to return all of the rows from that car sheet. If I run this, we can see it outputs all 100 of them leads, and if we scroll down here to the section where it says company phone number, we have the company phone number right here. So that's perfect. The next thing we need to do is we need to connect up to Twilio to make that call. So I'm going to connect in here. I'm going to come in here. In the HTTP section, we need to fill in all of these details. I'm going to leave this full template below in the first link so you can download it for completely free. You won't have to type all of this out. But to explain what we need to do in here, firstly, in this URL, you can see we have a URL in here which is going to call that Twilio account. And we need to put in our account SID here, which is to call the JSON and essentially make a call from the phone number that we just bought. Over here, we have these sections in here. This is just another URL to make the call. And the to address is basically the phone number that we want to call. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to select the phone number from the Google Sheets that we just created. Come down here, select the company phone number and drop that in here. And the from phone number is going to be the number that we've just bought. So over here in the phone number section, you'll copy your phone number, bring it over, and you will paste that into this section here. And then the timeout is going to be 1. Now up here we need to give Twilio our authentication. So after you put in your account SID up here, we're going to need to do another thing where we come over here and we select a generic credential type. We're going to use basic authentication. When you select basic authentication, you're going to need to create a new credential, and where we're going to need to get some details from Twilio. So over here in Twilio, if you come up here to your account dashboard, over here in your account dashboard, you can see your account info where you have an account SID and an auth token. So we need to copy the account SID firstly and bring that over to N8N, and I'm going to drop that in here for the user. And then for the password, we are going to copy the auth token, copy that, bring it back over and drop it in here. And then we can click save. And that's going to be our Twilio authentication. Now up here, we have the account SID, which is just the same thing that we copied, this first one here, which is the account SID. I'm going to copy that, bring that over and drop that in here. Now that's going to call all of the leads in this list and basically force it to look like a voicemail. So it's going to call them for 1 second and hang it up. So on their end, it looks like a voicemail. Now the options after this is what do we do? Over here, you can see in the diagram, we can either answer the calls manually or we can set up a voice agent to handle it. If you want to set up a voice agent, then you would come over here to this site called Vapi. And over here on Vapi, you would set up an assistant to answer whatever calls you wanted it to answer. So for me, I'd set it up as a mechanic and train it basically on the types of call that it's going to answer. And then over here in the phone number section, you would just add that phone number that we made over in Twilio. So you press create phone number, come down here and select import a Twilio phone number and put in what we just copied and pasted, which is the account SID and the auth token, and this will connect Twilio to this phone number, and this will connect your Vapi assistant to this phone number. So whenever somebody rings back, it's going to go directly to your Vapi assistant. Now if you wanted it to come directly to you and you didn't want it to go to an assistant, then you come down here to your active phone numbers, and in this section over here, in your phone number that you just bought, you will see we have a call comes in. I have it set to go to Vapi, but if you wanted to change that, then we would change it to a Twiml bin. And to create a Twiml bin, very quickly, come up here and select Twiml bin, and we're going to press create a Twiml bin. And in this Twiml bin, you're going to copy in this code exactly as it is here, except in here for the dial section, you're going to replace that with your phone number. So you'll put in your phone number here and you'll give it a name, test bin, and you'll press create. And now this is basically telling it whenever you get a call, forward it to my personal phone number. So if I come back to my active phone numbers, and down here in this section, I come to my phone number that I just created. In this section, I'll select Twiml bin, and then I'll select the name of the one that we just created, which was test bin. And now all of the calls that come into this phone number are going to be forwarded to my personal phone number. And that's the full process completely done. If you want to go to voice agent Vapi, if you want to go to your phone number, then you select the Twiml bin. Now, why is this perfect? It's perfect because This is the perfect pitch logic. When somebody calls you, they're going to say, hi, sorry, I missed your call. Over here, we're going to say it happens to businesses constantly. And we're going to pitch our service. Missed calls equals missed leads, which also equals lost money. And we're going to pitch our AI that's able to answer 24/7, 365, like the agent that they're speaking to if we're using a voice agent, or if we're calling them from our phone, then we're going to let them know that the AI agent will be able to handle all of the calls for them. That's just an example of a unethical way if you wanted to set this up. Make sure obviously that you're following all regulation laws, but this is a way that I've seen people set up and it's been working extremely well, and I don't actually know many people that do this or many people that even know about this. If you like that video and you want to learn how to build your own AI automation agency, click the first link in the description where you can join my course, and I teach people how I scaled my agency to over 100k per month. If you want to download these templates for completely free, click the second link in the description.